Hey, welcome to Dino Hour. Hey, look, Dino freaks out. Dino Hour. This is a cute little background here. This was the bronze, the third place medalist in the DDS Discord server for best for the contest for Dino Hour backgrounds or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, it's very cute. You can see me wielding a spiked bat there. There are a whole bunch of layers to this, most of which I don't know. I recognize Kirby there and Yoshi, but the rest I have no idea. It's like a mashup of a bunch of different video games. It was done by an impronounceable person within the server whose name is like a bracket and then a triangle and then like another bracket down below. Anyway, hey Shining Crystal Pistol, hey Rainy Cakes, hey Drusuta, hey B, hey Fang, hey Coffee Cheetos Chicken, hey NymphF64. We're all having a good time. Hey, Drusuta said, or am I saying that right? Drusuta? Good morning and good morrow. Who's grateful that we're not in the aftermath of Hurricane Ida? I'm down here, but I'm not there. I'm on the other coast. I'm on the Atlantic coast. It's safer over here. My sister, though, she lives in the Panhandle of Florida, and I don't know what happened there. I don't know if it hit hard or not. I don't pay any attention to the news. All my news is from tiny little flash in the pan tidbits that I see on the sidebar of Twitter that I just choose to ignore. I didn't know what COVID-19 was for like 2 weeks after the thing started. I just called it the coronavirus because I had heard that term, but I didn't know what I was actively avoiding finding out what COVID-19 was, and then eventually you kind of find out. But anyway, A-Part says, cheers from Patagonia. A-Part's way down there in Patagonia. There is record of Patagonian giants. So obviously there's not really Patagonian giants, but I know a little bit about Ferdinand Magellan, the explorer, the European explorer who was the first to circumnavigate the globe. Patagonia is the region down in South America, way bottom tip. Bottom tip. Tip. And when Magellan was like, hey, we're gonna go, I think we can go all the way around the world, and we just gotta go, past America there. And so they went and did that, and they thought, well, that's the part of the reason they kind of like were banking on sort of a Panama Canal, but it hadn't been invented yet. They just figured they'd just go kind of underneath United States or whatever, but no, they just kept going. They were like, if we keep going down the coast, eventually it'll stop and we can go around. But yeah, they got all the way down there, and finally, there's that. I believe it's called the Strait of Magellan now, right? But it was not always the Strait of Magellan, obviously. But yeah, they had 5 ships that sailed, and when they got there, one of them was just like the weather was extremely terrible, and like there wasn't a lot of space to get through, and they were like not sure what they should do, and one of the ships was just like, fuck this, I'm going back. And so they turned around and went back, but they never got back. There's no record of them ever making it back, so that ship was lost along with all the people on it. But then when they were in that region, they disembarked at one point to just kind of, I don't know, find gold, spread smallpox. But they found some people, natives who lived there and are referred to as Patagonians. They were like, they called them, they kidnapped one of them, of course, and enslaved him on the ship. And they called him a Patagonian giant, or I don't know if they called him Patagonian. They called him a giant though, because he was like 6'3", and Europeans were all like 5'6" and stuff. So they were like, oh, he's huge, but I'm 6'3". But anyway, yeah, they like they kidnapped him and enslaved him, and then when they were down there, they were trying to go through. I think also in that process, a second ship. I'm pretty sure a second ship wrecked while it was there, and also there was a mutiny because they were like, "Fuck this! Ferdinand Magellan is insane. This is crazy. We have no idea if this is even gonna work. This doesn't make any sense. We're all gonna die." And so there was a mutiny, but the side that allied with Magellan was like tougher, and they won. So the mutiny was unsuccessful, and there were 4 people, I believe, that were held responsible for the mutiny, and 2 of them were impaled and left. 2 of them were impaled, I believe, and just left that way to die. And then the other 2 were each taken to separate, tiny, small islands, and then they just dropped them off there, and they were like, "See ya." So that was what happened down there. And then when they got through, the water was all clear. It opened up into the Pacific Ocean, and it was named so for the fact that it was so peaceful looking after all the tumult that they had just gone through. So it was Pacific, I guess. I don't know, it was Portuguese or Spanish or I don't know, whatever. Anyway, it means peaceful. And so then they were like, "Oh, sweet, finally, it's a little ocean we got to cross. Let's go do that." And then it turns out that the Pacific Ocean is just really big, and they all started getting scurvy and dying left and right. But yeah, it was pretty wild stuff. So that's the story of the Strait of Magellan and the Patagonian giant. He later died. But anyway, it's your history lesson from old Uncle Tech. You can see this. You can see this little guy down here, right? See, he's like all pissed off. You know why he's so pissed off? He can't see it, but there's it's a little something that's bothering him, and it looks a little like this. He doesn't know what's going on, but that's see this, yeah. That's what's going on there. Love history with tech. Yeah, there's a bunch of fascinating stuff from the story of Ferdinand Magellan. One of my favorite things about that whole voyage was just their departure from. I can't remember if he's either from Portugal or he's from Spain, and then he just kept repeatedly betraying and just committing treason back and forth between the countries until both countries were pissed at him and wanted him jailed. But he was just trying to climb the ranks of nobility or whatever, so he would have access to a ship so that he could sail, because he was like, "I want to go around the earth." Yeah, so he just kept betraying everybody. They were all assholes. They're not. I mean, they're worth celebrating for their crazy fucking insane feats, but he went around and just killed a bunch of people in the name of God. Anyway, back then when they would have voyages to the Americas, a lot of times they wouldn't have crews for it, because people would be like, "Fuck that, I'm not going over there. I don't know what the fuck's going on over there." So they would, a lot of times, the fleets were made up of prisoners who were just it's "Hey, you're in prison. You got to go do this," and they were like, "All right, whatever. I can get killed by a sea monster, I guess." But yeah, they anyway, when they were leaving, they had 5 ships. I think they were somebody can fact check me on this. I feel like they were 250 people or something like that. 5 ships. Is that right? I don't know, something like that. Anyway, pretty good amount of people. Pretty big fleet. But they left, and it was kind of let's hurry up and go, because I'm gonna get Magellan was I'm gonna get fucking arrested for all kinds of shit if they catch me before I leave. So we need to get the fuck out of Dodge. And so they just started sailing, and then they got chased by police ships, or whatever, ship cops, water cops, aqua cops, Uh, and they were chasing after him, and the prisoners were like, yo, what do we do here? And Magellan was just like, just keep going. Like, what are they gonna do, follow us to America? And he was right, because they kept following him, and eventually it was just like, we can't, what are we gonna do? So the cops turned around, and they were like, all right, here we go. But yeah, my knowledge on this amazes me. It's like one of those things where I just like know a lot of really specific knowledge about something, and it's like historical, so it seems smart. So it's like, it sounds like, hey, I know a whole lot about what I'm talking about. It's just Magellan. Excuse me. Coffee Cheetos Chicken says the story reminds me of a story of a World War I pilot accidentally coming across a tribe, and it was the first white man they'd ever seen, and create a religion of him once he left, and it still exists today. Whoa, that's fucking crazy. Shiny crystal pistol. Living in Ohio is terrible. Yeah? It's just one massive suburb besides Columbus. It's the only highlight. Orange milk is there. Yeah. I'm from Dayton. Coffee Cheetos Chicken. I don't know if you know that. I don't know if I've talked about that before. Just got some stuff sent from you to Dayton today, Rainy Cake said. I hope they arrive by Wednesday. Probably won't. There was another... This is pretty wild, too. This is the wildest thing, I think, about the entire voyage. So Magellan had this, like, indentured servant, which I'm pretty sure is like a case of, like back then, I think like if you like saved someone's life or something, then they just like they indebted their life to you from then on or something, or maybe it was some sort of weird contractual thing. I really don't know. But he had an indentured servant that had come from the east, and like via the Silk Road or whatever, and then yeah, so but basically he was like, all right, I'm your servant forever now, Magellan. But he was also like his best friend, like his like right hand man, so like anyway, so like during the mutiny he was really important because like he played like a leadership role there, etc., etc. Anyway, when they got to the Pacific Ocean, they sailed across the Pacific Ocean, and it took them like a bajillion years or whatever. And they were like, we're gonna die. There's no fucking land in sight. This sucks ass. They're like out of food, and like everyone's... I mean, scurvy. Your fucking like gums are bleeding, your teeth are in pain, like, and yet every day you're like working like 16-hour long days and like baking in the sun with this excruciating pain, and you're like starving, so you're like weak, and you have to like work all day to fucking make these like sails work and shit. It's fucking insane. I would just be like, nah, I'm just jumping over. But, oh shit, maybe I have scurvy, Rainy Cake says. Usually you can get... The reason they got scurvy was because they hadn't realized yet that you get scurvy from a vitamin C deficiency. And so they didn't have... And so, they were just bringing, like, bread and shit. And they would eat the bread, but like it would give them like enough nutrition or whatever, but like they'd get a vitamin deficiency, and then they'd end up with scurvy. It's actually why it's why British people are called limeys, because they realized at some point that that when they ate limes they wouldn't get scurvy when they would travel to the Americas, so they were like, let's just eat limes. They didn't realize exactly why yet, but they would call them limeys. Anyway, I'm just kidding. I do get my vitamins. My gums bleed though. My gums bleed if I brush my teeth too hard, or if I floss. Fucking sucks. I don't care for the scurvy nonsense either. Personally, I would never want to get it. Simply. Anyway, so like, yeah, well, they finally, like, so they're getting all the way across the Pacific Ocean or whatever. I can't remember. No, yeah. All three ships, I'm pretty sure all three ships made it across the Pacific, which is pretty wild, but, anyway, they got to, they finally found land, and they didn't know what land it was, but they were like kind of hoping it was just like, I don't know, Russia or something. I'm not sure, because they didn't have everything pieced together yet. They just kind of knew, or they were under the assumption that like it would lead back. It was pretty like, I think it was pretty accepted that the world was round, but like nobody had gone all the way around it. Not everything was fully charted and stuff. So they just like show up on what would eventually be known as the Philippines, and what the fuck? What's going on here? Coffee Cheetah's chicken derailing. Well, Shiny, in high school, I had a massive Mormon porn fetish. The thought of people breaking their religious views to fuck each other turned me on a lot, mainly gay sex. I've moved on to other kids. Thank you. Anyway. Classic. Yeah, anyway. So they get to the Philippines, right? And, so they get there, and the people there, you know, don't speak Spanish or whatever they're speaking. And, so there's immediately a language barrier, and it's fucked up because they're just like showing up on 3 ships. They're all fucked up. There's these island people there, and they're like, what are you doing here? What is this? Who are you? You know, that kind of thing. But they can't speak. You know, there's a total language barrier. And then it fucking turns out that the indentured servant could speak their language. He was the only one, but like he spoke that language, so he just translated for them, which is fucking crazy. And like also just like a fucking miracle, like some like just like Dickensian level serendipity, like it anyway. Just wanted to say that Bernie Sanders is now live on Twitch under just chatting, using his celebrity for views. Like Frank Costanza in a nail salon. I don't get that, but anyway, yeah. So it was really remarkable that he could speak the language, but anyway, yeah. So they like talked to this one tribe, and they were like, "Hey, would you like to convert to Christianity? Say yes, or we'll kill you." And then like the tribe was like, "Yeah, that sounds great." And so they converted them, and then they were like, that tribe was like, "Hey, there's another tribe here that we've been warring with, and it sucks because they kill us a lot, and it would be pretty cool if you converted them to Christianity too, because then maybe we would all kind of get along, you know?" And so Ferdinand Magellan and company, you know, fresh off this fucking horrible voyage, are like, "Yeah, no, we got to go do that." So they go over to the other tribe, and they're like, "Hey, God," you know, and the other tribe is like, "No, fuck you." And so then instead of just being like, "Hey, cool tribe, we got to go," they didn't like it, and we're trying to make our way around the earth. Instead of doing that, they were like, "Well, we got to fight." Even though this battle has nothing to do with us at all. So they, Ferdinand Magellan and company, and they're the born again tribe were like, let's go beat these heathens, you know, and they fought, and they did not win. There was a person on the ship who did not partake in the battle but watched from a distance, who recorded stuff that he saw, including Ferdinand Magellan get hit by a spear, but he was wearing a helmet, and it knocked his helmet off and knocked him down, and then he got up and grabbed the spear and then started stabbing people with the spear. Ferdinand Magellan apparently was actually a pretty awesome fighter. But yeah, so he just like got clocked, and he was like, "Fuck that," picked up the spear and started stabbing, but then the tribe just like collapsed on him and they killed him. And that was where Ferdinand Magellan died. And when Ferdinand Magellan died, the rest of the crew was like, "Oh man, we gotta leave. This is not good at all." And so they went back to their 3 ships, like, we gotta get the fuck out of here. And the Tribe 2, they lit one of the ships on fire, burned that all up. So they only had 2 ships left, and they just were like, fuck, and they got on the ships and went away. And then when they were sailing away, obviously they were like, they were kind of it was kind of almost good that they consolidated on 2 ships, because they were sort of understaffed at that point, from having died across the Pacific Ocean and in battle, totally needless, pointless battle. And so they were like, now only had to deal with 2 boats. However, they lost a lot of food on that ship that got burned up. So then they started sailing, and that's when they hit land, which would have been the west coast of, I guess they traveled below, like, south of, like, India, like through the Indian Ocean or whatever, and then they would have hit the west coast of Africa and gone down. And then what happened was they went to the bottom, like the southernmost tip of Africa, and that's when first they stopped at the southernmost, like the Cape of Good Hope or whatever, southernmost tip of Africa. And while they were there, they got attacked by like some tribe, and I think 4 of them were kidnapped by the tribe, or didn't make it back to the ship or something. But they fucking got on the ships and left. And I think they stopped because they were consolidating ships down to 1 ship, because they were out of food. The voyage lasted 3 years. So, like, they did not bring 3 years worth of food. They didn't have any way of storing that, you know what I mean? So, like, they were, like, starving to death and dying, just dropping like flies. Yeah, I know, these fucking tribes are fucking them up. It's just like, you know, it's no man's land for white people, like, from Europe. They're just like... so they're like... Yeah, they stopped to consolidate ships, I believe, there. And then that's when they got attacked again, and they got back on the ship. And then the cool thing was, when they got back on the ship, that's when they started, like, they realized that land was turning north, and that's when they realized that they knew where they were, because that had been charted. The east coast of Africa, the west coast of Africa, right? I said west coast earlier, but I should have said east coast of Africa. The west coast of Africa, that had been charted by Europeans, because they just, you know, sailed south or whatever. So they were like, oh, holy shit, we're gonna get back home if we can stay alive. And somebody will have to fact check me, but of the like 250 people or however many that were on that voyage to begin with, across 5 ships, 1 ship returned, and I believe there were like 11 people, something like that, or 11 or 9, or that's it. Not really enough to, like, even be out there manning a boat like that, but they did it. And they got back, and their ship is all fucked up. And as they were, like, you know, returning, you know, they have like port logs and stuff. 18 of 270. Okay, that's what it is. I almost said 17, which still would have been wrong. But anyway, yeah. So it's certainly not a good kill-death ratio. But yeah, when they got back, the ports were like, "What the fuck are you? What is this?" And they were like, "Yeah, we left like 3 years ago, you know." And they were like, they like went through the logs, and they were like, "Oh, whoa, we definitely thought you were dead a long time ago." So yeah, they welcomed him back, and the welcoming was mostly just that they the nobility took all of the treasure that they had found, and then turned them to the streets. And so they died in total obscurity, and probably poor and begging and jobless, and it's pretty unceremonious ending to one of the most insane journeys any human being has ever taken. What was this voyage called? This was the voyage of Ferdinand Magellan. F's in the chat for Magellan's men. Yeah, it's sad. If I'm not mistaken, there is some theory that supports, or some data that supports the fact that the 4 guys who got kidnapped or left behind at the southernmost tip of Africa made it back way later, like crossed Africa on foot or something. I don't know. I don't want to pass that as truth though. But there's some memory I have that's like something about that. Hey, FG No Scope. But yeah, one of the cool things though about the 2 coolest things about their return. Hold on, I'm almost done reading. Almost done talking about Ferdinand Magellan. When they were on the ships, they kept a logbook, extremely detailed logbook of every single day, and like all the events that happened, which remained all the way to the end of the journey, which is how we know a lot about what happened. But the thing about the logbook was that it was kept perfectly every single day, and what was weird was that when they got back to Europe, they were on a different day than the rest of Europe, and they were like, how can this possibly be? Like, every single one of these days is accounted for. How does this happen? And it was actually it became like, I don't know, continental news or whatever, this concept, and it like made its way all the way to the Pope. Like, it was like a big thing, because they were like, what, how does this work? Why would there be like time travel if you go around the Earth? And that's, I think, basically the first indication of like essentially like an international dateline kind of thing, which is pretty interesting in my opinion. But also, perhaps more cutely, there's recordings from when they were down in that Patagonian region. They described in the ship logs seeing, I can't remember the words exactly, but they called them like flightless birds with like what appeared to be like black skin, and it was like the first like recorded history of penguins, which is kind of cute. Hey, Portal. So yeah, they were like the first people to record penguins. Obviously, the Patagonian giants probably hung out with penguins all the time. But anyway, yeah. So that's the history of Ferdinand Magellan and his circumnavigation of the globe. 30 minutes. We're just cooking with grease. Wait, are there warm weather penguins? I don't know if there are warm weather penguins. Patagonia is not warm weather. The southernmost tip of South America is like almost Antarctica. But that's a good question. Puffins? Are puffins penguins? No, they're not. They're their own kind of bird. They're just really cute. Rennie Cakes asked, Tech, why is the tattoo for a band called The Sailing an airplane, if I recall correctly? Because when we changed the name, we were called Fatum originally, Fatum, and there was a circumflex over the A. We were in high school. And, I know there are warm weather penguins as told by the animated documentary Surf's Up. We were called Fatum, and then we wanted to change the band name because the lineup had kind of changed and was no longer really Fatum. And we were trying to think of band names, and there are a few ideas that we had, but we kept coming back to the word sailing, and it had nothing to do with the ocean. It had everything to do with sailing through space. We never really considered it as like sailing on an ocean. If anything, it was sailing on an ocean of stars. And so yeah, I think we were gonna be called the Sailing Green, but then we just scrapped green, called it the Sailing. But the logo itself, if anybody wants to see, that's it. The logo itself was we had a concept album under the name Fatum. The last thing we released as Fatum before we changed to the Sailing, called When It Comes We Will Be Waiting. And in a nutshell, I mean, there's so much to it, but in a nutshell, the album ends with the protagonists boarding a space plane and flying directly into the sun as a means of escaping certain doom from a catastrophic event hitting the Earth. So it's sort of like dignified suicide or something. It's like a better than getting killed by meteors or something. Just get on a plane and fly the fuck right into the sun. Anyway, that's like that one chick flick, but with the sun instead of a cliff. Yeah, it's way cooler than Thelma and Louise. Although Thelma and Louise rules. But anyway, yeah. So the plane in the sun was just like a thematic thing. I mean, like the album cover of When It Comes to Be Waiting is a like a big cityscape, dystopian cityscape with an airplane flying up and a sun at the top. So it was just like that was the iconography this became the iconography of the album cover to a certain degree. And really, it was just Gus, the drummer. He was in commercial art in high school, and he was just kind of fucking around in Photoshop, and he was using wingdings, and he found that, like, I can't remember if it's like P and R or R and Q or P and Q or something like that make a plane and a sun, and then he just made the plane slightly smaller and put it inside the sun. And he's like, check it out, it's kind of a logo. And we were like, hell yeah, this is awesome, let's use this as a logo. And then years later, we got it tattooed on our bodies. So that was that's the story of the logo. Yeah, a circumflex, that's right. Is that an upside down V? Never heard that word. A circumflex is, yeah, it's the upside down V, the little house that goes over some vowels. I don't think it does anything. I asked my French teacher one time, I was like, what does a circumflex do? And she seemed to imply that it didn't do anything, and that it had, I mean, which could be wrong, maybe she just didn't know or didn't feel like explaining, but she said that there were a lot of old French words that had S's that they didn't pronounce, and so they just, to preserve like the history, they turned the S into a circumflex over the letter that preceded that S or something. I don't know, might be wrong. But anyway, tum. CCC said, these kinds of stories fascinate me. Surreal events that happen throughout time. I've recently been obsessed with Alexander the Great's whole thing. A voyage is a once in a lifetime occurrence. It's a once in a. I guess the next big occurrence would be when we try to go to Mars, right? Probably. There'll probably be some cool things that come out of that. Speaking of which, I would 100%, if given the opportunity to go to Mars, I think I would do it. Pretty sure I would. Knowing I would die there on the way, probably just do it. Be sick. Good way to go, in my opinion. You know, flying a plane into the sun. Sammy Jote said, yo, what's up with those vaccines, man? Right? Talking about my vaccine specifically? I finally got the fucking vaccine, or I got the first shot, and it sucked. Everybody kept... I'd heard people complain about the arm hurting, and I'd heard people complain about getting sick from the second shot. But, and I was like, okay, well, the second shot, I expect to get sick, sure, whatever. But the thing with the first shot was I was like, okay, my arm might hurt a little bit, but like, it's arm pain, like, cry me a river. Like, it's gonna be fine. But I did not realize how badly the arm pain hurt. It was to the point that I could not sleep. It hurt too much for me to fall asleep. And I laid there from like 1 until 6 o'clock in the morning, occasionally writhing in pain and nodding off for like split seconds before being like, it was crazy. Yeah, it sucked. But now I'll just wait until I get the second one, get sick, and then I'll be done with it until they tell me I need to take another vaccine or something. I don't know, whatever. But, you know, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. It did take me a lot longer than it took a lot of other people to get vaccinated, but that had more to do with my own social anxiety than anything. Yeah, I think I'll get like that when I get my Perdina. It's like that. I don't remember what we were talking about. Sorry. Oh god, I lost the thing. Gravity is your god says water always flows to the lowest point and seeks its own level. It can't conform around a spinning ball shooting millions of miles through an infinite universe. The only thing that our authorities sent to space was our fragile minds. Gravity is your god. What's going on? Circumflex reminds me of Genuflect, which reminds me of the Cowardly Lion in the Wizard of Oz. And it's a lot of leaping around there. Zombie said they don't sound like Latin, but they brought some back to the spelling. There's a resemblance to the Latin roots. I don't know what's going on anymore. Gravity is your god said you go to Mars? Or you are fucking out of your mind. I'm not. I just... Why not? I mean, I know why not, but like... It sucks so bad that there's nothing left to explore here. And so the idea to be like one of the first people to get to try and explore further is just too, I don't know, it feels too beautiful to pass up. Once in a lifetime, sort of. Once in a who knows how many generations kind of moment. I don't know. If you don't speak French, you can't love right. Sorry, y'all. Je m'appelle très bien l'un de fromage, s'il vous plaît. Which I'm pretty sure je m'appelle très bien l'un de fromage, s'il vous plaît means my name is very good Monday cheese. I feel like that's all the words I know in French, and then I just make a sentence out of them. But it sounds, you know, if you don't know what any of them means, then you can be je m'appelle très bien l'un de fromage, s'il vous plaît. Yeah, I think that's all I know. My name is very good Monday cheese, yeah. Lundi, right? Lundi? Can't remember. Très bien. Frère Jacques. How does that song go? Frère Jacques, dormez-vous. I don't know the next part. No. Anyway. I hope you take many more vaccines and be a good boy. I'll take every single vaccine. I collect them. Rainy Cake said I would not go to outer space because I think I would throw up on the flight, and I hate throwing up. Well, you get a lot of time to get used to it. I think it would take like 6 months or something. It'd be like a 6-month voyage to Mars. And that's like one of the things they say, like, they don't feel like people have the mental ability to go for 6 months in like a unit like that. I feel like I could. I feel like I could do it. I might be wrong. I feel like I could do it. The next big occurrence is the DDS album. I hope that's true. Molo asked, love the background, who done it? Who done did it? Molo, it was done by, it was the 3rd place winner in the Death Dynamic Shroud Discord server contest for making a Dino Hour background. It was, you can't say his name, it's 2 brackets that look like this, and there's a triangle in the middle. I don't know. Triangle Man. A faded VHS is the large hadron teleportation of a molecule was a pretty wild event. You know, but stuff like that doesn't get any kind of like cool press. So you're just kind of like, all right. It almost feels like I don't know. It's like with the aliens, you know, where they kind of revealed that they have data about UFOs or whatever. It's like things that get so unceremoniously revealed. I feel like it creates like a sort of a doubt among the general population about it. That's like, well, it wasn't a big deal, so there must be something about it that wasn't that important or something. You know what I mean? I don't know. Or maybe that's just me. I don't know. Reniki says, oh no, I mean, my first dose felt like my arm got hit by a car. Hey, lots of people told me that, but at no point was I like bothered enough by that, because it was just like, it's just arm pain. Like, so your arm hurts. I don't know. It's like when I get into car accidents, I see the thing I'm gonna hit, and it's just like, it's not that big of a deal. I'm not going that fast. And then it's like, blam! And you're like, what the fuck? It's that, except with your arm and the knowledge of pain. I don't know if that metaphor makes any sense to you, but it does to me, and that's what matters. Momo said, wow, really? I felt extremely tired when I got my vaccine. I was lucky. Yeah, I would roll onto it and make me wake up and exclaim, yeah, it sucked. Couldn't lift my arm the day after. It's whack. Chuka444 said, I didn't feel anything with either one, not even the arm pain or any symptoms. I might have been injected water. Well, you know, the placebo effect. If you believe you won't get COVID, then you won't get COVID. It hurts like hell, but I mean, it's better than getting your throat cut open to get an emergency intubation or something. Yeah, well, that was kind of like what I was going with. That sort of logic. Renike said, hey Tech, so my coworker had her recent psych appointment via Zoom call to get her meds. Can you not do that there if you want to? Just a thought. Also, my comment before when I said I think I'll get that when I get my Pudina, I meant the sailing tattoo when I get my Pudina. Gotcha. Psych appointment via Zoom call to get my meds? No, the problem has everything to do with just a really shitty fortune when it comes to my doctor. I had a doctor in Boca Raton, which is about an hour north of me. That's where I used to live a little further north before I moved to Miami. And that doctor, I met him once. I went back for one more visit with him, and then I was just kind of taking meds, so I only saw him once for over the course of 4 months or something. And then when I went to go talk to him again, he was not at that practice anymore. And so I was like, oh, okay, can I have a new doctor then? And so then I had to see this different doctor, but it was during quarantine, so I called him, and then he gave me a refill on the prescription. But then since then, that doctor isn't at that practice anymore, and I don't know, now I need a new doctor that I would prefer to have one that's more not in Boca Raton, if that makes sense, because I live down here. But anyway, part of me is also really happy about how clear-headed I am with not being medicated. It sucks being depressed and anxious, but I was anxious anyway. So I don't know. I'll figure it out. It's all right. Truka444 said, random question, have you ever heard of a game called Everhood? I haven't. Ever heard of it? No, I haven't. Renike said, no Tech, there is something left to explore here. The deepest ocean depths are completely unknown, still turns out. Hard pass. I would rather go to Mars than go down deep into the ocean. That shit, I don't know that there's aliens in space, but I know there's fucking aliens in the water. No thank you. The circumflex with the S's is silent letters in French in general. It doesn't mean anything, but it's oh, this is sort of how we connect modern spelling to the Latin roots of French. Oh, that's what you're saying. I gotcha. Yeah, that's kind of what I was told. I don't know. I don't really like the whole... I don't like... I'm not wild about language as an art form. Let me clarify this. I'm not wild about the the bricks that lay the foundation of language, i.e., letters, an alphabet. I'm not wild about preserving tradition to an alphabet when getting rid of that tradition and embracing the utility of the alphabet makes for an easier world. You can still preserve the beauty of language and the art of language if you have a utilitarian alphabet. I think that doing things like putting circumflexes and holding on to silent letters because that's what we used to do, and I don't celebrate that concept at all. I don't like that tradition sort of thing. It's not true, Zabi Mac. I love poetry. I don't like what I specifically am talking about the alphabet. Hey, Heartless Jenny. Yeah, I think the poetry's wonderful, but you can write poetry using a utility alphabet just fine. Renike says, this song is awesome. To be honest, never heard it before. This is the only song on Spotify that Death Dynamic Shroud has that has over 1 million plays. This is our most famous song on streaming. It translates to games. But yeah, this is the most popular DDS song according to Spotify. Renike says, voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir? Oh, that's the voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir? I don't know what that means though. I just know it's the song. Be your mighty marmalade. Folks in Brazil will be speaking Portuguese now. Damn, baby, quack quack. Be. It's Sonne Matina. So, Frère Jacques, dormez-vous, sonne la matina, ding dang dong, something like that. Isn't it? Yeah, Sampigarli. This isn't there Martian caves? I'm also a fan of going to Mars. I don't really want to go in the caves unless they're big and open. I don't want to get in the tight squeeze scary caves, but I would explore a Martian cave that was big. Molu said, I found out my dad could speak fluent French like 2 years ago. When he spoke to a French nurse, I was like, you could speak French this whole time? Damn. Molu, how the fuck could you have gone your whole life without knowing that? That's crazy. Hey, yeah, there you go. Frère Jacques. Renike said, I believed I wouldn't get COVID, but then I got COVID and they wouldn't let me work for 5 weeks. That sucked. 5 weeks, that's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Hey, Nathan. B says, I don't know if you have insurance, but you can go on the provider site to narrow down by area and telemate availability. I would rather shove an ice pick under my toenails, B. I'm just kidding, I wouldn't. I would not rather do that, but that sounds so awful. I don't know. You know how it is to like, you know? It's like, ugh. You know? Wow. Nathan went through so many jugs of water during the road trip. He also peed in his jug. Very resourceful. I'm proud of him. Yeah, I would explore the massive cave systems. Yeah, big time, for sure. Rainy Kick says, I would never go cave exploring C3, the water kind anyway, given that I've read too many stories about that guy who got stuck head down and basically had to be allowed to die there because nobody could get him out. Yeah, fuck that. Way too scary. Ugh, the claustrophobia of just watching videos of people exploring caves is like too much for me. Good lord. Je te fatigue. I don't know what that means. I don't know how to pronounce it either. Zabi Max says, I'm like A big thing since I took linguistics classes in college is prescriptive versus descriptive grammar. So there's a lot of stuff people will say is wrong, but it's really just a matter of style. The real question is, did you understand what I was trying to get across, even if I used the wrong word, spelling, grammatical construction, etc.? Yeah, I think that like question and take is what kind of made me stop being a grammar Nazi or whatever. Because I was really proud for a long time of the fact that like I did have like a pretty solid command of the rules of the English language or whatever, and I would get irritated when I would see people bastardizing it, just doing it really poorly, and then it sort of like occurred to me when I was kind of asking myself that question, is like, what am I mad about here? Am I mad? You eventually just decide that it's essentially just classist. It's sort of like it's just classist to like hold it against people for not knowing the rules to a very convoluted language, especially if you know what they're saying. Now, when people say shit and I can't even figure out what you're saying, it's like, figure it out, fucking figure it out. But outside of that, it's fine. And it is, it's just like style. But I do think that you could certainly make English, at the very least, much easier if you made some pretty basic rules. Just, don't give letters multiple sounds. Every letter gets one fucking sound. There's no reason that like you need one letter when you there's like this concept of like simplifying, or like maybe having efficiency by having a letter like G that can make a J and a G sound, but like that's not simple, that's convoluted. If you have a single letter for J and a single letter for G, especially when the letter J exists, what are you doing? So that sort of preservation of tradition or whatever, it fucks up the language. It makes it harder for people to learn. It makes it more convoluted as time goes on. I think that there's simply a way to reformat an alphabet to make it easier to put together and to eliminate mistakes, to make it so that you don't have to really guess how to spell things. If you know all of the sounds that can be made, then you should be able to spell the word simply. So I don't know, that's my take on that. Just I don't know how to say that. Je suis, but I don't know that other word. Portuguese is fun because it has nasal vowels like French, but the vocab is a little more like Spanish and Italian. Well, I'll be. Tech Home Wars and the Nutty Putty Martian Cave Incident. No thank you. No thank you. Tech Home. Tech, do you have a P.O. box? I don't in Via 64. If you want to send me something, I can give you an address. And then you can use that address, but it's not a P.O. box. Sammy Jote. Yo, thanks for the good times, y'all. Have a great night. Bye, Sammy. Thanks for tuning in. Truka444 said, well, if one day you remember Everhood and decide to look it up, I can promise you'll be into it. Really good game, fantastic soundtrack, and incredibly unique in every other aspect. I probably like all kinds of games, but honestly, at this point in my life, I just play a select handful of games, and if I'm going to play something new, it's probably just going to be a Final Fantasy game. Mostly I just stick to the games I've played before. Like, I don't go chasing waterfalls. But, sometimes, maybe. I tried the Apple Arcade thing for a second. What, the golf? Heartless Jenny said, being dyslexic sucks, so letters and phonics are terrible. Oh, well, see, there's another. But then how does Hooked on Phonics work? Wait, letters and phonics. I don't understand. What do you mean? What do you mean they're terrible? Because in the idea, yeah, like having, is it? I mean, I don't know. I never had any problem like learning English or anything like that. I've just always thought about it from like an objective view. The idea of single letters with multiple sounds is just inherently a flawed concept if you're trying to teach somebody rules to something. But am I wrong there? I don't want to be classes. I guess I'm still learning to be a better human. I do have grammar Nazi issues, but that's a good point. Rainy Cakes, that open-mindedness about it is also super crucial. Believe me, I know exactly what it's like to like almost have like a pride to that like grammar Nazi vibe or whatever. But like, yeah, it really is just about, if I can understand what the person is saying, there's no reason for me to like get upset. Now that said, there are times where I'm like, man, like, especially in work-related situations where like superiors or something, or like who get paid a lot more than you, are like really not doing a good job at effectively communicating using the language, then I start to get a little irritated. It doesn't feel as classist at that point. But in general, yeah, there's no benefit to just lording your knowledge, I guess, in that sense. Gavin Finelli said English got messed up when the French monks invaded in like 1066. They let the English people keep their words and made them spell them the French way. She's been fucked since. Wow. Well, there you go. That's what I mean. Yeah, we don't need to preserve that shit. Just start fresh. Didn't Korea just like start a new alphabet at some point, like the last 100 years or something? They were just like, fuck this. South Korea or whatever. I don't know. I don't know. I thought they did something like that. They were like, we're starting fresh. Oh, okay, so Heartless Jenny is the Jenny. The Heartless version. CCC said, my god, I butcher my sentence about grammar. I can't type all about. It happens. Rendochi made me join Twitter, so I kind of mashed my Twitter and my YouTube. You're branding, Heartless Jenny. You're branding. Rainy K said, yeah, Zabi Mac, the funnest, only a new word, because funnest wasn't a word like 15, 20 years ago. It was most fun. So, was when I did my family genealogy, and an old aunt or aunt sent me letters from older grand aunts telling ancestral stories where one person said they liked getting their granny to say yellow jello because as a Swede, her granny would pronounce it yellow yellow. That's cute. Funnest is a word, damn it. It is now, because enough people fucked it up. That's how all the words get made now. Everybody does it wrong, and then they're just like, actually, it's a word now because we used it so many times. And so, you can either champion that, say, hey, language is fluid, man. It's all good. Or you could suggest that maybe there's some level of anti-intellectualism at play there, but that's neither here nor there. I thought we weren't allowed to talk about what the Gulf anymore. Man, I legit can't see anxiety in the chat without getting excited and wanting to go to their SoundCloud and play Showtime. Aw, that's cute. Chat supporting chat. You'd love to see it. Heartless Jenny said, I can't spell and the sounds mess with you. And forget about reading. Yeah, I had a friend who was really dyslexic when we were in elementary school, and he and his brother both had a real hard time with it, and their parents bought them the Hooked on Phonics thing, and he is now becoming an English teacher, which I thought was wild. So I guess the Hooked on Phonics thing is helpful for some people. I don't know. I don't really know how it works, but yeah, that's all I know. That's the extent of my knowledge of dyslexia. Oh, Anxiety the Spectacle's got a full album drop on Friday. Awesome. Dog champs. It's always okay to punch up. That's right, Hot Takes Vapor. Zavi said, I feel like you were saying with being open-minded, it's okay to have the pet peeves as long as you're honest about it. Yeah, I think you just have to be, like, self-aware, right? Like, be aware when you're like, okay, yeah, I'm being a little classist here. But, no, I don't know. Just, keep yourself in check or whatever. But I think it's the attitude that Rainy Cakes had earlier, like, literally, that when she said that I don't want to be class, I guess I'm still learning to be a better human. I do have grammar Nazi issues, but that's a good point. Just the idea that she was willing to be I do have this pride about grammar and the knowledge of it or whatever, and a lot of people, because of that, will instantly put up defenses and be like, no, I'm not wrong here, but the willingness to listen to the concept that maybe there's, I don't know, maybe it's better not to be or something like that. I think that's good. I think we need more of that as humans. Sometimes it looks like I'm wearing eyeliner, but it's just my eyeliner. I don't wear eyeliner. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, sorry. I scrolled up and I got lost in the chat. Zabi said, I kind of get annoyed when people say, here's a photo of my friend and I, because you wouldn't say, here's a photo of I, you would say, here's a photo of me, but I feel like some English teachers beat it into our heads that you say, and I, when there's a... Yeah, I'm real guilty of that, too. Because of that reason, the English teachers beat it into your head. I've only recently started to, reconsider it, because I'm like, well, wait, does that... Because I would, almost be critical of anybody who says, me and so-and-so, or my friend and me, or whatever. It's an instant red flag, but it's not always wrong. But, why are there those rules, It's who fucking gives a shit? But I think there's a certain level of pride to it because I had to learn it, and so did everybody else. And when you get, and I think this is how baby boomers, I think a lot of the time feel too, when you get, through all of that, you had to go through the ringer. Everybody had to go through that ringer or whatever. And when you come out of it, and there's people that, aren't practicing those rules that you really put effort into learning and remembering, and they're doing just fine and succeeding, it's almost like there's kind of a jealousy of their position, or a frustration, not a jealousy, an unfairness, a sense of injustice there, because it's well, no, I had to learn all this shit, you should have had to too, So, I don't know, I think that kind of comes into play, but shittily. Yeah, shittily, funnily drives me nuts. I don't like that one. Funnily enough, it's I don't know, it's probably a word at this point. I don't know. But language is fluid and evolving. We've lived long enough to see words bastardized, and that in and of itself is a privilege. I suppose so. King Sejong standardized the Korean language in the 15th century. Yeah, it was 100 years ago, right? But it was just all right, hold on a second. Let's not go down, because now Japan has 2 written languages, or they've got all kinds. They've got kanji. Then they've got katakana. Then they've got the English pronunciation of, or Japanese pronunciation of English words, whatever. I don't know. It's just way too much going on there. There's just, why even preserve kanji? You don't need it. It's just people don't letting go. I don't know. I don't like tradition. I'm not a fan of tradition. Just tear it down, make something new. Anxiety the Spectacle said, no, then where do you draw the line on word creation? I don't think that, that's my point, that you can't really get mad about, funnily, at some point, people used the word enough and it became an acceptable word. Or funnest, or stupidest. I remember stupidest was not a word when I was a kid. My dad would be don't say stupidest, it's not a word. Stupider and stupidest. But they are now, because enough people started saying it. It was often, O-F-T-E-N. It's often. You don't pronounce the T. It's the rule. So, I learned it often. And when people would say often, I was like, ugh. But then eventually, often was accepted because enough people say it. So it's kind of just like, you can't, if we're making words, this is how it goes. But, when you, like, it's just like I said, when you have to follow all these rules and learn all this stuff and then it gets changed later, you're like, well, what the fuck? But, no, the prescriptivists are the intellectuals. Maybe. I'm not even gonna get into it. Alex, hi, how do I donate? The same way it works on Neo Gaia, but I don't really know. Is there like a thing? It's a link? I don't know. Maybe on Twitter's like, or not on Twitter, but on Twitch's like meme page? I'm not sure. I'm sorry. Thank you for the consideration though, Alex. Zavi said, you guys are talking about the descriptive. Okay. Renducci's a sweetheart. He also has hey, Alex. Aw, thank you. You got Dancing James there. Thank you very much. It was very sweet. I'm glad you figured it out. Thank you. I'm slightly gonna miss college, but also not. Zavi, yeah, I get that. Bye, Heartless Jenny. Self-awareness is sadly kind of rare, Anxiety said. Yeah, it's just like the most crucial thing to me is, you can get away with so much. Like, people will greatly benefit from it just for their own benefit. Like, you can, like, if you show self-awareness, then you can make, that's like how, like, irony gets away with people. You can make jokes and excuse the jokes because, well, this guy's pretty self-aware, so then maybe, I don't know, it's just, I don't know, there's layers to that, but in general, for the greater good, it's just good to fucking step back for a second and be like, maybe if I think about this from a different perspective, since there's, 7 billion other people on the planet, maybe I'm not the only one who has it right. Eventually, though, you figure it out, and then you know that you're the one who knows all the answers. CCC said, wish you were wearing eyeliner. I wore eyeliner some Halloween. And occasionally in high school when I was hella goth. Rainy Cake says, Tech, you should wear eyeliner once in a while. I want to see what that looks like. Have Michaela do some concert makeup one stream soon. Yeah, we did that once. It was horrifying. Anytime she gets close to putting the makeup on my eyes, I'm like, I hate it, because it's freaky. Red eyeliner looks good with most of the DDS shirts. I feel like that would just make me look very ill. But maybe ill as in cool. Funnily Cake. Oh my, we're real far behind in the chat now. Rainy Cake said, I have this rigidity about me that I think is largely tied into being on the spectrum, which leads me to be hypercritical about things that I spent a long time learning and priding myself in excelling at, like written English grammar and spelling rules. It's hard to let it all go in the name of being a better human, but I want to be better and do better. Yeah, that's exactly it. Once you practice just not caring about it, though, it becomes a lot easier. Jeremy Steven asked, could we get another Neo Gaia episode with Keith? That'd be awesome. Yeah, I don't see what, that sounds great. I love having Keith on the show. Anxiety said, I don't like when people say do twice in a row. Oh, twice in a row. I do that. Oh, I don't like when people say do twice in a row. Gotcha. Sorry. Yeah, I do that. I do that too. Keith episodes are... Yeah, the Keith episodes are... They're always too intense. He's always pushing the edge. Rainy Cake said, so, hey, if I was gonna get a tech-centric tattoo, what would that be? I don't know. There's no tech logo. The shrimp crown, probably. The shrimp crown is distinctly a tech honors thing, I feel. There's no, I mean, you know, it's the Louisiana Shrimp and Petroleum Festival crown, but nobody knows what that is. So yeah, that's my answer. The shrimp crown. I don't know if you want to get a shrimp crown tattooed on you though, Rainy. CCC said, see the word sonder getting used a lot recently, and it was crafted as a joke a couple of years ago for some project college was doing. Really? What does it mean? Zabi Max says, that's not a word is a great example of prescription versus description. Like, it's not a word, but people are using it, so it kind of is. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think it only becomes a problem if nobody knows what the fuck you're talking about. If you're using some word that's not a word, but everybody knows what you're saying, then it's fine. Oh Lord. Sorry, I'm catching up with the chat here. Rainy Cake says, I refuse to get fruit tattooed on me? Why would you refuse fruit? What's wrong with fruit? First, like you said, for me it really just comes down to whether or not language can be used to convey meaning. Literally every extent language would be considered inadequate by historical comparison, but philosophy, the sciences, literature, etc. still move forward in different directions as well. Yeah, it's 7 billion. It's 7 billion now. Lux said, you are brave, I am scared of eyeliner. Eyeliner the guy? Oh, I love Luke though, we were both on it. Hey Lux, how's it going? No words, no items. Tech, Gus asked, Tech, where do you land on boba tea? I don't think I've ever had boba tea. What's boba tea? What the fuck is boba tea? Here, let's... I'm looking up boba tea. Whoa, I don't... Fuck off. Just want to see the boba tea. Ew. No, I'm not into it. What the fuck? Why are they putting stuff in it? Do you eat the stuff? What are the fucking little things? This is disgusting. I don't even like the way it looks. I hate everything about this. I don't support boba tea. I think it's disgusting. We're going back. Uh-oh, I think the thing's gonna happen. God damn it. Oh Lord, I'm way far away now. The worst word in the English language is probably? Why? It's a good word. Yeah, the shrimp crown. I'm deeply sorry, but there's basically no way I'm doing that. Hey, I don't blame you at all. Shiny Crystal said, Ayo, Brian, Texture is a handsome fellow. I don't know who Brian is. I assume something happened. Have you heard of the Dictionary of Obscure Sorrows? No, I have not. What is that? Sorry, the chat keeps doing this weird thing. Boba tea is bubble tea. What is that? Are those bubbles? Black bubbles at the bottom? How are those bubbles? It's a super trendy drink with little bubble guys in it. Oh, Gus loves it. I can't go there with you. The bubbles are good. Tapioca pearls. Okay, what is the consistency of the bubbles? Gus, that's my boy. The texture looks super off. Why is there fucking food in my drink? It's like pulp. Fuck pulp. Fuck pulp. I don't want to chew my drink. Ugh, disgusting. Okay, anxiety, I will. I'm interested. Oh my fucking god, I could get the shrimp crown on Fudino. That is extremely intense. That's a great idea, though. The bubbles are like gushers, but way thinner walls. They're chewy. Everything about this is so gross. Guys, this is horrid. Boba tea. Better than pulp. CCC says boba looks like the eggs in dragon dildos that spray into women who have egg impregnation kinks. CCC all up on the kinks. Here's thing that says baby boy palette. Pulp is terrible. Thank you, Rain Cakes. Oh, shiny crystal pistol. Now you're like, what the fuck? Earlier you're like, okay, sure, Mormon fetish, whatever. Oh, the impregnation kink. They're basically these dildos. They're like shaped like dragon dicks, but they're not really. You know, nobody knows what a fucking dragon peen looks like. But they're big honking wieners, and they have these like little orb things in them that ejaculate, and they're like eggs that go up in you, which presumably come out because that's how the vagina works, or the beehole. But anyway, then you can get impregnated by a dragon. Rainy Cake says tech has food texture issues. Yeah, for sure. Cakes rule. Shiny Cosmos said, I'm having boba tomorrow, and if you ruin it for me, I'm gonna hunt you down. Hey, when you're drinking tea and there's some sort of weird fucking black gusher exploding in your mouth while you're just trying to drink a drink, don't get mad at me. Dicks are pretty universal, aren't they? I don't know. An echidna peen does not look like mine. So. And then Fia says, wow, I'm learning so much in this stream. Shiny Crystal says, I know about it, Tech. You don't need to explain it. Well, then don't ask what. CCC said, oh, by the way, Sonder is a noun, which means the realization that each random passerby is living a life as vivid and complex as your own. I think that's boring. I think that's just like... I don't know. Needless... I don't know. On the nose poetry in word form. It's like when they make up words that show up on Tumblr that mean some sort of really elegant thing. It's like, alright. I don't know. It's fine. I think it's great if those words sort of came about a little more naturally, but I don't know. I'm too much of a party pooper to explain this. Gus just big honking wiener. That's the tattoo. Capitalism brings innovation and value. Rainy Case asked, wait, what is Gus? What do you mean, what is Gus? Gus is one of my very best friends in the whole world. He's the drummer of The Sailing. He's a very special boy. He said the women actually let eggs dissolve inside them, I believe, from the videos and forums I've seen. He said the eggs dissolving is the best part. Oh my. Shiny Crystal Pistol said, at least you can see the pearls and it doesn't blend into its environment like aloe vera drinks and orange juice with pulp. Yeah, I guess so. I don't really want to have any of it in there, though. See, what's so hard about just drinking like a drink that simply doesn't have dragon eggs in it? Oh, maybe don't look up the Dictionary of Obscure Sorrows then? I don't even know what I reeled against just now. Oh, it's that. Okay. Is it like the yeah? It's like where they make up words and they're just like, oh, this word, simcillary. It means the scent of rain on after your parents get divorced. That kind of thing. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I'm not trying to call it out too much. No. You don't apologize. I'm being a stinker. I think some of that stuff is beautiful. That's why I learned the term. Well, I don't know how to pronounce it. The Welsh word or whatever, hiraeth or you know, the sort of like nostalgia for a time that you never experienced or whatever. I think that's a great. You know, I think that's wonderful. I think that it's really beautiful when those kinds of words exist in other languages, and then we just, you know, pull them from the other language or whatever. I think that's great. I think sometimes it comes off as a little too much. It's just a little too on the nose, like somehow. Like. I don't know. Kind of, it's almost in the same way that like when you put strings in a song, it's emotionally manipulative, and so sometimes there's a greater elegance to not putting strings in a song and still allowing that song to breathe and be emotionally captivating without resorting to something as I don't know, as easy or something. I don't know if that makes sense, but Anxiety said, I think it's cool to describe things that are very specific yet are shared by others. Yeah, I mean, I agree. This is I don't know how to like explain this disdain. It's just this is a very common feeling that James and I have, and we go to each other to vent about this sort of thing, this sort of frustration with beautiful things that other people really love, that we're just like, no, I don't, not into this, and then we like, I don't know. It's hard to explain why exactly though. And maybe it's just because I'm an asshole. I really don't know. But yeah, I don't know. I like some of them. And I know what the fucking smell of rain is. I know like that feeling, the nostalgia, that for a time that you never experienced or whatever. Hold on. Let's look up some good ones. Let's look up some good ones. Hey, Shiny Crystal Pistol, Defenestration. My band Fatum had a song called Defenestration. Alright. What was it called again? The Sorrows thing? Dictionary of Obscure Sorrows. Let's look that up. Dictionary of Obscure Sorrows. Give me that. Alright. Wait, is this... Okay. Okay. After some. Astonished... Wait, am I looking at the right thing here? Dictionary of Obscure Sorrows. 12 years in the making, 300 pages, 70% new definitions, including longer video-like essays, otherworldly illustrations, and some thoughts on language and meaning like. Maybe it's because it dwells on a... sorry, I fucking forgot to do the thing. There. Sorry. Yeah. Jesus. Maybe it's because there's a certain level of like, philosophizing or romanticizing existence that kind of irks me. And maybe it's because I am not keen on existence all the time. But let's see. So this is it. Okay. After some. Astonished to think back on the bizarre sequence of accidents that brought you to where you are today. As if you'd spent years bouncing down a plinko pegboard, passing through a million harmless decision points, any one of which might have changed everything, which makes your long and winding path feel faded from the start, yet so unlikely to be as to be virtually impossible. Yeah, I mean, I've thought about that. After some is and it's from a Swedish word, eftersom. You majored in postmodern philosophy, so that probably makes sense. Yeah, like, I mean, I've definitely had that thought, and I think about that concept for sure. The idea of there being a word to describe it, I guess, is fine. I feel like when you start to really get into or start to really talk about that idea, I feel like maybe it's something that I did more of when I was maybe in my early 20s or late teens. And then now to think about things like that a lot. No, it's fine, anxiety. No, you didn't fuck up. This is interesting and good. I think it makes me think of like people romanticizing their own lives. There's a very early 20s thing that early 20s people do, which is, and that I definitely 100% did all the time, which is they're just trying to, you're trying to figure out, you talk about yourself a ton because you're trying to figure, you're almost like trying to assert it, you're almost trying to test it out to see if like maybe this is what I am like. You're feeling out your own personality or whatever, but it can grow tiresome, I think, because it becomes at least to somebody older maybe, because you're just like, all right, yeah, like, yeah, we're all stardust and everything is cosmic chaos, and yeah, here we are. But maybe I'm just an embittered jerk, No, I'm not, guys. Come on, I'm not. Nobody fucked up here. This is interesting. Renee said, "Whoa, anxiety. When I got my second associate's degree, it was in philosophy of religion. Haven't met anyone else who did that. Problem was, I could only use it to be a teacher of philosophy, and I needed to go to school for another couple of years to do that. So I just didn't. Yeah, yeah, Zavi. That's sort of that's kind of what I'm getting. Yeah, you're made of stardust. So it's trash. Calm fuck down. Yeah, you're McDonald's fries. Great. You're a cannibal. Okay, Lilo. A friendship that can lie dormant for years only to pick right back up instantly as if no time had passed since you last saw each other. Yeah, I have those. Lilo? 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 Yeah, I have those. I don't know. Yeah, is there a need for a word for it? I don't know. Maybe. I don't want to read mitting. All right, I'll read mitting. Mitting. I don't know what the V intra mean. Not all of them. I'm sure not all of them are gems. Yeah. I wanted to find one that I thought was kind of cool though. Feeling the tranquil pleasure of being near a gathering, but not quite in it. Hovering on the perimeter of a campfire, chatting outside a party while others dance inside, resting your head in the back seat of a car, listening to your friends chatting up front, feeling blissfully invisible, yet still fully included, safe in the knowledge that everyone is together and everyone is okay, with all the thrill of being there without the burden of having to be. Yeah, I guess what I would ask here is yeah, alright. There's way too many words for that definition. I think a lot of them kind of have that, but you're trying to describe something. To me, it feels like there's more beauty in not having a word for it, if that makes sense. It's great that there's a word, and then I guess you could... It feels almost more like utilitarian to have a word when the description of that is much more captivating than the word knitting. You know what I mean? I don't know. But I get that feeling. I feel like I don't really care much for that feeling. Knitting reminds me of a moment I had in a pre-pandemic at a birthday party when my drunk friends were screaming like a prayer. Shiro City, my favorite of those words is ennui. Isn't that that's like a oh, okay. Yeah, I feel like that's the one I've heard a lot. Yeah. Yeah, I don't yeah, I'm trying to think like moments like that in my life. I feel like I'm usually drunk in those moments. And when I'm drunk and I have those moments, all I can really think about is, oh man, I really gotta do something to make sure I don't feel like shit tomorrow. So it's not always great. Or I feel like really anxious. Like, fuck, what am I doing at this event or whatever? Rennie says, I do. There are a number of words that have become things in the past year or two that I don't quite get. It makes me feel old, but it doesn't make me feel wrong. Yeah, so there's nothing wrong with any of this at all. If anything, it's kind of like it's definitely like beautiful that people that can come together on these sort of hyper specific feelings that are otherwise not really defined by vocabulary or whatever. But like I said, I think that having a description, communicating that description and leaving it undefined, or leaving it without a word, is maybe more captivating to me. Maybe more, it allows these feelings that they're like talking about to remain ephemeral by not giving them a word. And I think that having that ephemera is, I don't know, it's just more beautiful to me, I guess. But yeah. Paro with a circumflex. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but Paro, the feeling that no matter what you do is always somehow wrong, as if there's some obvious way forward that everyone else can see but you, each of them leaning back in their chair and calling out helpfully, colder, colder, colder. I don't experience that, simply. Hey Fla, how's tonight's Dino Hour been? Rainy Case says fantastic. I've been having fun. Sorry, got distracted. I suppose the value I find in it is that it makes me think about these things as experiences. Yeah, I think that's why I'm like enjoying this. You didn't ruin anything. You didn't ruin it, anxiety. Truly. I don't know, this was kind of fun to me, but why does it continue backwards? Huh. Scabulous, proud of a scar on your body. That's cute. Which is an autograph signed. Yeah, alright. Flashover, the moment of conversation becomes real and alive, which occurs when a spark of trust shorts out the delicate circuits you keep insulated under layers of irony, momentarily grounding the static emotional charge you've built up through decades of friction with the world. The moment a conversation becomes real and alive. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable in the discussion? I'm not sure I get that one. We got onism? The frustration of being stuck in just one body that inhabits only one place at a time, which is like standing in front of the departure screen at an airport, flickering over with strange place names like other people's passwords, each representing one more thing you'll never get to see before you die. And all because, as the arrow on the map hopefully points out, you are here. That simply doesn't need a word. I don't know. I don't. These would all be so much cooler if they just didn't have words. They were just like descriptions of these things that you can relate to and experience. You know what I mean? Scabulous. Flashover is what happens when a fire takes a hold over a structure. Why tie? Why tie? A feature of modern society that suddenly strikes you as absurd and grotesque. From zoos and milk drinking to organ transplants, life insurance, and fiction. Part of the faint background noise of absurdity that reverberates from the moment our ancestors first crawled out of the slime, but could not for the life of them remember what they got up to do. I like the first part of that. Yeah, I mean, and maybe that's part of it, is that the words could literally be anything. What would be kind of fun is if the website generated a different set of letters and made a new word every single time you went to here. The obscure sorrows would be even more obscure because the words would be as ephemeral as the feelings themselves that they're describing or that define them. And each experience would be fresh and new conceptually. I think that would be better. That's my take. That's me owning the dictionary of obscure sorrows. No, Quebico? Oh, wait, Rainy Cakes, what'd you say? There's this album by Pain of Salvation called B, and it's a concept album that I can't properly describe aside from saying it's from God's perspective, and it chronicles the creation of everything through the destruction of everything. And that album really got me to believe that we are all shards of the Creator, put forth to experience things, and then die and come back together to report back what we experienced, basically. Interesting. Forced to experience things and then die and come back together, report back. Is that what it's actually about? That's what the concept is about? That's interesting. What's Quebico? A state of exhaustion inspired by an act of senseless violence, which forces you to revise your image of what can happen in this world, mending the fences of your expectations, weeding out invasive truths, cultivating the perennial good that's buried under the surface, before propping yourself up in the middle of it like an old scarecrow who's bursting at the seams but powerless to do anything but stand there and watch. I don't understand that feeling. I feel like, I don't know, nothing shocking. I don't know. Shiro Aztec, what is your favorite time of day? My favorite time of day is 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. I like, here's a word we could make up. I like that feeling. There's a certain comfort in knowing that like the world is turned off outside. For the most part, and that the tasks that might be looming over your head that you need to take care of throughout the day that would require daylight can't be completed, so there's no guilt there. You know what I mean? And it's just quiet. I don't know. That. So, you know, maybe that's in here somewhere. In Chilled. Yes, Tech the album, Rainy Cake says, Yes, Tech the album itself is told from the concept of God, and it's just really, really great to listen to all at once and just absorb. It's worthwhile music. A lot isn't. This album is interesting. I think you can believe in God or a higher power without devoting yourself to a religious sect. Yeah, absolutely. There's nothing wrong with belief. Just when you try and make other people believe the same thing as you. I feel like I resonate with Quebico. Interesting. I don't know. I don't get that one. Rainy Cake says, if religion is real, then Earth, what we're living right now, is clearly purgatory. So we're already a couple steps in. So what is hell really? Yeah, I don't believe in any of that stuff personally, but I just think it's random matter suspended in the dark, and then we die, and then we're just it's out, you know. But I don't know. See, I got one. Euphoric, the feeling of eggs spraying into your womb by a dragon dildo, the beta feeling known to man. Oh Lord. CCC. You gotta chill, fam. Zavi Max said, you ever take a walk at night and it's empty? Like, yeah, if you wait around for 5 minutes, a car will go by. But for the most part, you can see the traffic lights change with basically no traffic. It's a very Buffalo thing. It needs to be an urban area, but not as big as NYC. 100%, yeah. Love that. I particularly love it down here. Where I used to live was awesome. Slightly north of here, near West Palm Beach. It was great because I could drive at like 2 o'clock in the morning. And yeah, it was like, it's warm and like humid, and it like feels kind of coolish at night because of it, you know. It's during certain times of the year, and yeah, like I would have my windows rolled down, and there's just like the quietness to the city or the area or whatever. Yeah, I love that. Wolfram Alpha said, "Tech, you're back." I've been back. But I am back. C3's walking on a fine line of deserving to be fucking banned. Yeah, just chill, CCC. Oh shit, Zombie, you're in Buffalo. Me and Molotov are just up at Darien Lake. I've been to Buffalo once. I saw Niagara Falls from that side. Gavin said, Tech, I didn't really believe in a higher power either until I took ayahuasca with a Peruvian shaman. Highly recommended. I'm not interested in any of that stuff. But I'll say that I used to believe, and I no longer do. So it's sort of like a... I don't know. I feel like I went through a transformation on all that stuff. Alright, it's fine. Cool. It's all good. Just, I think, we've defined a line here. Just chill. Yeah, I don't mind when stuff like that comes up sometimes, but yeah, we don't have to keep on going with it or whatever. Shiny Crypto said, oh my god, there's this video from a creator I like who broke down hell and how it wouldn't be shit to people who have known suffering for long. He was referencing black people and how they would overcome hell and how Jesus wasn't shit. It's hilarious and also kind of eye-opening. That's bullshit, I'm sorry. If hell existed, it would be so much worse than anything any human being could possibly have ever experienced here, other than people who died of being tortured or something. Because it would just simply be some sort of otherworldly level of pain that never ends. And forever and ever. So I don't care what kind of oppression any human being has ever experienced on Earth. If there's an eternal torture chamber, it just doesn't hold a candle. So I don't know what that person was talking about, Shiny Crystal Pistol, but I beg for dinner. Floss said, I can understand I'm coming in late, so I don't know now. Part of me is like, oh my god, I live in New York State, why don't I move to the city? Meaning Albany. But of course, rent in NYC is notoriously expensive. Yeah, a little too much. Split a studio and 4 other people. Good god. Rainy Cakes, you live in the southern tier of New York? Yeah, where do you live? I don't remember where you live. Where you have the high minimum wage and low cost of living. Shiny Crystal Business said, I stopped believing in God pretty early in quarantine, although I've been slipping for years at that point. Yeah, it was when I moved to Philadelphia. I was like 24 or 25. And then I was like, not anymore. But I've talked about that before. Anyway, I'm gonna read a couple more of these. I'm curious. Exulansis. The tendency to give up trying to talk about an experience because people are unable to relate to it. Okay, I get that one. Whether through envy or pity or simple foreignness, which allows it to drift away from the rest of your life story until the memory itself feels out of place, almost mythical, wandering restlessly in the fog, no longer even. Here's what else I would like. I would like one of two things. One, the idea I had earlier where the word changes every single time you come back to the website, so that the word is rendered meaningless and the definition is all that matters. Or have the word and then don't get so flowery with the definition. Try and be textbook about it. I think that would be more interesting. Describing these sort of feelings with this with sort of like the rigidity of of a dictionary. Be like a challenge. I think that would be kind of cool. 'Cause I don't want all the flower until the memory itself feels out of place, almost mythical, wandering restlessly in the fog, no longer even looking for a place to... What are you talking about? Like, the first part, I'm with it. I don't know. Exulances. Also, for what it's worth, if anxiety hasn't left by now, I feel like they might have, just because I was ripping on this, but I'm not ripping on this. I don't know. I think it's kind of cool. Flossa, what site is this exactly? The dictionary of obscuresorrows.com. Oh, anxiety lull. No, I'm a big boy. No, I'm not. Yeah, I'm glad. Thank you for understanding. It's more interesting than anything. I'm not reading the meantime. Achialism. The awareness of the smallness of your perspective by which you couldn't possibly draw any meaningful conclusions at all about the world or the past or the complexities of culture, because although your life is an epic and unrepeatable anecdote, it still only has a sample size of one and may end up being the control for a much wilder experiment happening in the next room. I'm not sure this is the same thing, but I know, like the other day I was thinking a lot about thinking about like the size of like me as a human, and like the size of like a bug, and then my size compared to the bug comparatively. So obviously, you think about it even as a kid or whatever, but I was like really thinking about it and like my place in the cosmos as this size, and I don't know, my relationship to all the objects and items and people and creatures around me, and just like our weird oneness or something. I don't know how to explain it, but I guess, I don't know, thinking about that's about the smallness of your perspective. I see what they're saying. I don't think I've ever experienced that. That's interesting. I like that one. The awareness of the smallness of your perspective by which you couldn't possibly draw any meaningful conclusions at all about the world, the past, the complexities of culture, because although your life is an epic and unrepeatable anecdote, it still only has a sample size of one. That's interesting. I like that one. That's my favorite one so far. Occulism. You guys are just talking about New York, so I don't know. I'm just doing my own thing now. Embedo, a kind of melancholic trance in which you become completely absorbed in vivid sensory details, raindrops skittering down a window, tall trees laying in the wind, clouds of cream swirling in your coffee, briefly soaking in the experience of being alive, an act that is done purely for its own sake. Yeah. Not as into that one. Yeah, isn't there a terminally chill coming up like in 3 days or something like that? Not real soon. I don't know. Anyway, going back to this mode. Hey, yeah, on Thursday. What's today? Tuesday. I don't know. Tuesday's the 31st. Yeah, so Thursday. Yeah, it's Thursday. Hey, if you're in the DDS mixtape club, there's a new mixtape coming out tomorrow at midnight. Right? September 1st. August 31st. Yeah, midnight. But yeah, I still have to finish it. But I will. It'll be cool. I'm excited to share it. If you're a fan of XOXO, my Tech Honors solo album, then you might like it. It's a lot different than the rest of the DDS catalog. If not, then, well, what the fuck ever. Honorable Bacon Flossa, do you feel like you work best when under pressure for a release date? Yeah, I have to have a release date in order to get something done. That's why this works. James and I have a bunch of practice doing this stuff too because of Rebecca Peak, where we would record a song every day for a year, and there was just the pressure. You can't let the other person down, so you always do it when it's your turn. And so I think with the Mixtape Club, it's kind of nice because we can just keep doing that and abiding by that rule and philosophy. And I think that the albums that we make could probably be better. This goes for Rebecca Peak too, much even more so for Rebecca Peak. I think the albums that we're currently making could possibly be better if we were given more time. But part of the Mixtape Club is the mixtapes that are generated in that month. So it's part of the, I don't know, it's part of the experience. Like, this is what is created in the month, you know? Not necessarily a snapshot of what could be each time. That's what the mainline DDS albums are for. That's for, you know, the real deal or whatever. But anyway, alright, I'm going back to main view here. We got fucking 10 more minutes here. Cause we gotta stick around for is Dino After Hours? Dino After Hours happening? Does anybody know? Have they tweeted? I don't know. I haven't checked Twitter because I've been doing this stream. You're always on the team that fails. Thank you, Luxury Elite. Flaw said I've had that lipstick song off Master Flan on spam mode the past few days. That's one of my favorite songs that I've ever made for DDS, to be honest. It's weird that it didn't come out on an album, but I made it like at the same time I made Classroom Sex. Well, a little bit after Classroom Sex Tape, after I finished it, but hadn't released it yet. What is Dino After Hours? Your Slinky asked. Dino After Hours is crazy. It's like a VR game where dinosaurs battle each other and like the chat can play the game. It's pretty wild. You should definitely do it. You don't have to be VR, but you can do it in VR on YouTube. Gavin said, yeah, Big Daddy Kane finna be here. All right, sweet. Then yeah, everybody stick around for that, for sure. It's happening in 8 minutes. Dino After Hours is when you just type a thing every minute or so, but basically nothing else happens. I mean, it's fun, Rainy Cake says. Yeah, it's just more fucking crazy, wild shit that George has put together for 100% paving the way for the VR dawn. Terminally, is there... I was gonna ask a question to the chat about Terminally Chill. Fuck. I already lost it though. Anyway. You're gonna get my laundry again. Might be out when the show ends. If so, Dino out. Check your DMs tag. Okay, I will. Thank you. You do get to hang with George. Yeah, see? You're hanging out with George Clinton and Adam, and sometimes Nagy Jemmy is there. An autograph. I can't remember the Terminally Chill question. I'm sorry. Can't do it. Simply. We're right towards the end here. Trying to see. I can't. It's not enough time to do anything. Have I been on Big Stream before? I have not been on the Big Stream. I mean, I've tuned into the Big Stream plenty of times, but I've never been on the show. I think Dino Hour is more aimed towards, or after. I think Dino Hour is more aimed towards VR listeners, but it's still a cool concept and I'm making it for sure. After Hours, okay, yeah. Infia64 said I love this song. Hey, I made this song. I made all these songs. What is James? No, it's, damn it. Sorry. Anyway, hopefully there will be a trailer for the new mixtape tonight. I think maybe there will be one. I'm hoping. It's all up to James. I sent him all the stuff he needs to make one, but, you know, he's got stuff to do. So we'll see. I don't know. We basically did Dino Hour for like 1 hour and 50 minutes, and then we didn't have anything for the last 10 minutes. There may be people watching this in BR, Brazil. Hey, Spooky Electric, thank you. Oh, thank you very much. I mean, $10. You got R23X there on the Chocobo. Thank you. Yeah. Anyway, last 10 minutes, we screwed the pooch. We fumbled on the 1-yard line. Tech, what are your thoughts on the slowed and reverb trend on YouTube? Wasn't DDS doing that way before now? Yeah, I mean, it's just vaporwave, right? It's just vaporwave. I think... Dude, honestly, I feel like it would be cool if people would just call it vaporwave when they slowed and reverb something. I think Magdalena Bay, right? Magdalena Bay had like a slowed and reverbed track or for their song Kill Shot. Just call it vaporwave. Just call it vaporwave, Magdalena Bay. I don't know, maybe there's a reason they didn't, I don't know. Any inspiration taken from chopped and screwed tracks? Yeah, I think that, like, vaporwave, like, owes its whole premise to chopped and screwed stuff, out of Houston. But I think, obviously that was more of a focus on hip-hop, but, like, I think, we get plaques in the last fucking 3 minutes. Yeah, I think chopped and screw is a big thing. My biggest like influences with making Death's Dynamic Shroud really were I'm not even lying. One of the biggest influences was those fucking DJ Earworm songs. I don't know if he still does them or not, but the one from 2007 is really good, and then the one from 2009, where he would just put 25 songs, like the 25 biggest songs of the year, and make a mashup out of them. I thought that shit was fucking incredible. I still think it's incredible. That was a big influence. And then another artist called Kids in Explosions had an album called Shit Computer, and it's just really glitchy mashups of like popular music, and it's remarkably well done as well. Hey, Michaela's home. Michaela says hi. There's 2 minutes left in the show. Not like Girl Talk though. I'm not a fan of Girl Talk. I'm just kidding. Girl Talk's fine. I shouldn't say I'm not a fan. I just mean like, hey, there's Michaela.
What are you guys talking about?
Girl Talk. Girl Talk I think does a different thing. I don't really think it's on the same level as what a lot of the other mashup artists do.
Did you talk about DJ?
Like literally just as you were coming in. Yeah.
We were singing that together. We still remember it from like 20 years later.
You're sitting down for the last 2 minutes?
I'm gonna be a party crasher.
I'm gonna knock over the green screen.
There
he goes. Look what you've done. Look at the chaos you've wrought in the last 120 seconds.
You're welcome.
Anyway, yeah, we're hanging out for one more minute. Thank you, Chiller Kittens. I think that it is a pretty cool shirt. If you want this shirt, go on www.100%electronica.com.
Are they still available?
I think so.
We don't even know for sure, but there's a few options, different colors.
This was my favorite one.
I have the first one.
The hand, the virtual.
Yeah. I get a lot of compliments on it. Well, when I showed people what the design looked like, because I got excited and I showed people at my job what Tech's t-shirt was gonna look like.
Well, anyway, so we're counting down the seconds here. Remember to stick around for Dino After Hours. Play the game. And you know, be the good team. Be the team that wins.
Yeah.
You know, we don't want any losers.
No.
No losers. Oh, that sounds like a slight against Rainy Cakes because she said she always lost. But be on the good team this time, Rainy Cakes. That wasn't a slap. And sorry about Plax. Yeah, you gonna give him the dino out?
Okay.
Do it.
Wait,
Wait, you gotta hurry.
Dino out.